Andy's going to do most of the presentation today, but I just wanted to give you a quick overview of our company and then also the client that we're going to be presenting today. Aptera is about a 90-person technology and marketing firm based out of Indiana. We're based out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. We have an office in Nashville, Tennessee, as well as a presence in Indianapolis. We actually do a wide variety of things in the technology and marketing space, everything from pure mobile solutions to business intelligence solutions, SharePoint consulting. Obviously, Sitefinity is a sizable and a fast-growing practice of ours to helping companies move out to the cloud, and then also doing inbound digital marketing consulting for them as well. This particular client came to us. They're based out of Elwood, Indiana. I'm sure nobody's been to Elwood, Indiana before, but Red Gold Tomatoes is one of the leading manufacturers of tomato-based products in the country. They actually have 4 brands, and they've been around almost 75 years. They started in 1942. They're in their 4th generation. It's a family-owned business. They pride themselves greatly in the fact that all of the products that they source to create their product are also all family-owned, multi-generation businesses as well. There's actually a pretty compelling video on their website that kind of talks about that premise. But it's neat for us to have a company like this in Indiana that sells their products and is well known across the country. Based on what geographic region you're in, will be a certain product mix, if you will. But they came to us. Andy's going to talk about the particular situation they found themselves in, and then how we solved that solution or solved that problem with Sitefinity. So Andy Glassley is our practice lead on our web team, and really heads up our Sitefinity practice for us.
Thank you, TK. Make sure this works here. There we go. So to start with, where they were. So Red Gold came to us. Obviously, they had a problem that they needed to solve, and I broke this down into 3 major components. So one being the content management system itself, 2 their SEO, inbound marketing strategy, and the current state of their site, and then the overall design of the website. So when we started talking to Red Gold, they actually had an existing Sitefinity instance. I believe it was Sitefinity 5.4, but they had a laundry list of problems they were having. From a content management perspective, you would hope to get, when you get it, that you would be able to basically be the creator of your own content. So your page templates are flexible. You can go in and add widgets to certain places to make sure that they would work. That wasn't the case for Red Gold. They would have, say they wanted to add another layout to their site. Instead of being 1 column, it's 2 column. Well, they had to get a developer involved because everything was hard-coded as a template, so somebody with HTML skills had to get in there and do the work for them. That problem kind of permeated through other pieces of content and different pieces of the site, which I'll get into in a little bit here. Another thing was SEO. For us, the way we describe SEO inbound marketing is that there's a technical side of it, but there's an art to it as well. So the SEO side of it for us on my team is making sure that when we build the site, the way the content is, the way Google's going to see your site, no matter whether everything's unstructured or if it's structured really well. So having your page headers be visible to the search, your navigation be marked up correctly so that it can scan it. So when somebody goes to your website, you'll see, if it's done well, you'll get the title of the homepage, and then you'll get the sections for careers, products, whatever it is, making sure that's all set up. Second part of it, inbound marketing. Red Gold had come to us with personas that they wanted to market to. So in our case, we did Red Gold and Tuderoso. Red Gold is the Midwestern brand. They want to market to Midwestern families. That's their primary target of the marketing they want to do. For Tuderoso, that is the East Coast brand. So if you live on the East Coast, you probably see Tuderoso in the grocery store. If you live around here, you would see Red Gold. Neither one of their sites, when you would go to it, it didn't really portray that vision of what they wanted. So that was part of it, which leads into the designs. So looking at the old designs, here's Red Gold. So the main header, that hero image was static. There was nothing they could do with it. Then they had navigation and a few of their recipes. Recipes is a big driver of content. Here they just have 2, but not really a good way to flow the site. And as you'll see with Tuderoso, same brand, they wanted to have brand consistency through the overall experience of the site. But if you see here, you've got navigation here, navigation on the side. The Red Gold brand would have flyouts when you hover it over. This one did not. You had to go through different levels of navigation to get there. So taking all of this into account, we got to a point where they dealt with it for a few years, but ultimately they finally got to a point where they decided, hey, we need to do something about this. We have a business need we have to meet that's not being met, and there's a driver that finally pushed them over the edge to reach out to us to help them. The main driver of this was we actually worked in correspondence with a company out of Minneapolis who did a multimedia campaign. So it was really truly multimedia. It was TV ads, it was print ads, it was design work, it was designing out promotions for them, what would get the biggest impact to get to the site to drive them to their products. So the main goals that when we were presented with this, was making sure that the personas were targeted the way they wanted to. The big one for their marketing team was making sure that the marketing team could actually take control of their site and not be dependent on the technical resources that have to do that, which, as we heard about before, takes time. You got to get approval process and stuff like that. The other problem was that they needed an intuitive search because somewhere along the way they decided to go the custom route instead of leveraging Sitefinity for what it can be. It's a very powerful tool that you can do most everything you want to. Some people that aren't as comfortable with it will deviate and go the custom route. In this case, they created their own custom search that searched very specific fields. So if you would add more information or more content to your site, it wouldn't find it. Somebody actually had to get in there and account for it. The other part, just making it user-friendly, more easily navigable, so that the different sites are more consistent. You can flow better through the site. So that's what we were presented with from challenges. Here's the representations of the new website. So just from the beginning, you can tell that their main persona was Midwestern families. So you get a picture here of a family around a dinner table cooking recipes, hopefully red gold recipes that you can find on the site. The navigation, the social media links, how to contact, how to sign up for newsletters between this site and the Tuderoso site, even though there's different stylings with different templates, everything's still consistent. So we have logos, everything's the same. It's just they've got a different look to match their different personas. And in this case, they wanted all the stock photography was redone by this company. So they wanted to really highlight all the recipes they went through. So they cooked all these, made sure they were presented well, just to be appealing. So somebody would click on it, want to go out, look at the recipe. Oh, by the way, this is done with Tuderoso products. Go out and buy them. So it's kind of an indirect marketing just to get people to the store. So along with that, getting the designs from the marketing firm, we went through and built it out in Sitefinity to make it easier for them. And through this, Sitefinity makes it possible for them to maintain their content and make it more easily available to administer their brands. Through this, we used the multi-site feature. Before they had one large site everything is basically broken out in the sitemap. So you had it was redgold.com. If you wanted to go to Tuderoso, you went redgold.com/Tuderoso. Now they have TuderosoTomatoes.com. So from an SEO perspective, you don't have to go to the one brand to get to the next. Everything is all structured out properly. On top of that, the marketing firm there maintains all the brands. So now they have one place to go to, one Sitefinity login to go in and maintain their content, update their pages, all of that stuff. And for some reason later, they might want to spread out to have a brand manager for this company but not have access to this one. That's available in Sitefinity out of the box. You just set permissions. So that set it up right away. For maintainability, setting up the templates and the content so that was very easily accessible to the user. I have an example of that here in a second. And extensibility. One big thing that we have is if you saw the slide, they have 4 brands. We've initially done 2. The point was to get these up and running because that was where the marketing initiative started. Now, we're actually in process of doing design work for them to bring up the next brand. It's as easy as duplicating a site, getting the templates that we have, taking that as the framework, and then customizing it based on that to move forward. So it really cuts the next brand, the development effort way down for them. So I want to get into recipes. So we created, before there was a custom module, and that was what the search was, so it was searching recipes. We instead decided to use a module builder to take recipes and rebuild that in Sitefinity, which automatically fixed the search. So we had This out of the box search worked because it would go over all the content from the site, from the recipes, all of that. This is a demonstration of what we did and where Sitefinity really has its power in the customization aspect. So we basically built, this is a screenshot of just a selector inside of the module. So you give it your recipe name, the calorie information, stuff like that. All recipes, one of the most important things is the ingredients and the directions that go with them. So using the taxonomies and classifications, we built out all the ingredients so they can choose the category, choose their ingredient, and now they have this list here of their ingredients. So you click on extra virgin olive oil, this menu comes up, and you can change everything you need to about the recipe. So what they found before, since everything was so hard, they didn't use it. Where now, they come in here and they update recipes all the time. So just in making it easier to use, it's a more effective tool because people will be more likely to go out there and update content more often. Another feature that we used, and where the multi-site really comes in handy, is this is featured recipes, the widget for Tuberoso, same widget, same exact code behind it to go and get the information, just filters on the different brands' recipes, just different styles. So we can take this, and first of all, if there's any changes to how they want to display these as far as what recipes they pull, it's done in one place, and you're done. You don't have to do it for multiple brands. And another brand, all you have to do is filter out those recipes and add a new widget template, and you're done. So it makes it way easier to rapidly prototype these things and get them out into production for a new brand. Same here for the recipe detail pages. You can select which recipes were related. Red Gold on the right, Tuberoso on the left. We're actually in the process right now of changing their algorithm a little bit, and they asked how much it would cost to do each brand, and it was a nice surprise for them when we said we can just do it once and it's done. So you don't have to do it twice, we just do it once, and then moving forward it'll apply. That same logic would apply to all brands. And same here when we do red pack, we'll just have to add a new widget template and it's done. So with all this being redone, it ultimately has to solve a business need. So the need is they want to get people out here. All those marketing campaigns were driving them to this website to get more brand participation. So when they got done with all of the it was up for a few months, they went to Google Analytics and got all this stuff. So there's a couple big stats here. They have 3 times the amount of traffic. That's really without the inbound side of their strategy. Since they wanted to pay up front for this marketing, that's in there. So that's just from that. Now we're going back through and talking the inbound marketing strategy with them, so that'll even make that number higher. More importantly than that though, is they're getting 3 times more traffic, but they're also getting people on the site for longer. So not only are you getting more people, but they're actually participating. So they're seeing people going to multiple recipes, commenting on recipes, reviewing them, really participating with the actual brand that they're using in their home. And the last piece here was, and they made a comment on it the other day, was just the fact that we've empowered them to control their content. They are way more likely, they're a lot more excited to get in there, generate the content, generate the promotions, create the recipes, and get them out there. So through all this, they've really got a solution now that they control what they have, which they can present to their customers. With that, I know that was a lot of information. Do you have any questions about the project?
Yeah, so one of the things you enabled in this version was all the social network, social media tools. Do you collect data, or do they collect data from that and integrate that back into their assessment of success or marketing plans or any or?
Currently, not. They're kind of on that side of it. They're a little bit more immature than they are on just the print ads and all that. That's where they focus the first part. This is where the next part comes in. So now we can come in here, and we did build it with, on the technical side, we built it so it would support all that. It would, everything would be scanned correctly. Now it's getting the content into there that actually drives them to the site. So the site's ready. It's built for it. Now it's just getting that next step.
What's the search technology that they're using?
It uses, Sitefinity out of the box uses the Lucene algorithm. So basically when it goes, it generates an index file of text, and that's what it uses. So it scans you can have it's a configurable list of items. So you can have, in this case, it's doing the recipes, all their pages, and a few other things, and it generates a file that it then uses for the search.
Does Sitefinity allow for like a faceted search interface on top of that, or is that a?
out of the box, it uses that search. You can customize the indexes, they're extendable. I wouldn't override it, I would definitely extend it just so you have the core functionality plus some, but you can add other things into it to make it work. You can do some filtering if you want to have categories and stuff. Some of that is custom, but it's definitely doable.
Can you talk about either how long it took or how much money it cost for the solution?
From a time frame perspective, I think for Red Gold's perspective, they started with their marketing campaign. That took, I think, 2 to 3 months, and it was about the same on our side to get it in there, get it all. So when we go through, we make sure we have everything. We try to get as many requirements as we can, build it out, and then go through QA both on our side and on their side. Everything accepted, and then it gets hosted. It's actually hosted out in the cloud. It's running, since it has 2 sites running to handle the load, we have 2 public servers that are load balanced, and then with 1 SQL server running the back end.
Andy, now?
Well, 2 questions now. 1, just curious what cloud provider, and 2, where is the content link for the recipes? Is that in Sitefinity or are you pulling that from somewhere?
It's actually in Sitefinity. The recipes are. The cloud itself, it's not Azure. I don't know the name offhand. I can find it, but it's somebody who offers a cloud solution. It's not one of the big ones on Amazon or Azure or something like that.
How many people on the team can do this?
On our team, we have 12 members of my staff at Aptera. We had 1 graphic designer who was working kind of in coordination with theirs just to make sure everything lined up. And then I had 3 developers working on it in different aspects of the site. So you kind of break it up. Here's the front end build, here's the back end things that have to happen, stuff like that.
So what's your, like, I mean, this is a question that doesn't have a specific answer, but on average, how long does it take you to launch a website in Sitefinity?
It kind of,
Similar to this one, for example, you said 3 months, but is that like typical time frame that you guys?
it depends on the size of the client. You know, we have some that we put out and we've done in as little as 4 weeks to get it out. And then other ones, and some of it just depends on kind of the back and forth as well. How defined is the solution up front? Are we working kind of an agile process where we're figuring things out as we go? Or do we have everything and we're just doing it and delivering it? So I would say our typical, on the small side is a month, on medium size like this, 3 months, and then they go up from there depending on what we're doing.
I have a question. Did you find that this, I'm assuming this was already an existing customer of Aptera's.
No, it wasn't.
It was not,
It was actually
okay.
transferred.
As part of this solution, were you able to identify other opportunities within Red Gold that you could drive business through?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We actually have they have a SharePoint presence that we're in talks with that. And also with our digital marketing practice, that's what this comes into. So we got in with them. They had their whole marketing done from their print ads, their TV ads, all of that, but we asked them about their digital strategy, what are they doing, and they hadn't thought of that yet, or they were kind of in the infancy of it. So that's where now we're coming in and advising them on that. That's another phase of the project.
Good.
So it definitely has opened the door for us for opportunities.
Thank you.